I just wanted to say, Yue, Yuan, Shin, Yuan.
幸福快乐。
你好，痛快快乐。And I don't measure myself in that way as that's a mark of my success. When I moved, I was a 6-year-old when my parents decided to immigrate from England, and my parents had never finished high school, neither had their parents or their grandparents. And so for me, my dad, when we moved to Australia, had always taught myself, my sisters and my brother that the thing to do was we were moving to Australia to be well educated, and it was up to us what we then did to work hard and earn our way in the world, and that the most important measure of your success is what you do for communities, what you do for your family, and how do you stay healthy and be able to live with yourself. So that's how I'd measure my success, not how much I earn. And it's really about making sure that I can provide for my family, but also making sure that I give to communities wherever I work and whatever I do. Yeah, so I did start out as a profession here in New Zealand and Australia that's called an occupational therapist, so working with people who had head injuries, lost legs or arms, or had serious burns, of helping people recover. And then I did a safety degree on how you prevent people having accidents. And it seemed to be quite natural to move into insurance. It's about helping communities recover and individuals recover after loss, whether it's personal injury or whether it's a damage to your car or your house. They're all really awful circumstances. So I see that my original profession puts me in good stead to really help people recover after loss. What really attracts me into IAG is we really believe in our purpose of helping make your world a safer place. So it's other than just what policies we sell. It's about how we treat our people in terms of our employees and how we work with the community to help make your world a safer place. How do we play our role? I'm also part of a great executive team, both here in New Zealand, but also across our group of companies that operate in Asia and in New Zealand and Australia. And so when you like the people you work for, feel you're challenged and are given the opportunity to play to your talents, not a bad place to be. The culture and our respect for diversity. Now, I don't just mean gender. Often people, when I say diversity, think it's because I'm a female CEO, but it's actually cultural diversity and recognising people's experiences that they bring to our teams, wherever you're working and whatever you're doing within IAG. For me, I was due to start in New Zealand on the 1st of November 2010, and my husband and I were both immigrating here, and we had a grand plan that that's when we'd moved here. And of course I ended up moving in September to make sure my teams were supported and the community was supported after the first earthquakes, and it changed what we had to do substantially. We had to respond, and we had to support our people, and we had to support a community, and we've continued to have to do that. The first Christmas my husband gave me, it was second Christmas actually, this little medallion, and it's the rose window of the Christchurch Cathedral. And he said to me, it's changed our lives personally, because I had to work a lot of weekends and a lot of late nights. But he said it also says what's important most to us is you always make a difference and you believe in what you're doing. And he said, I'm there to support you. And so for me, it just puts it into perspective that we have a job to help Christchurch recover and to stay insured in the long term so that it's done properly. But we also have a job to make sure New Zealanders are kept in insurance. And in 2011, the key thing that happened was we had to convince reinsurers to stay bringing capital to this country because the earth kept moving. We had many, many aftershocks for the whole year in 2011, but we also had a lot of other disasters happening around New Zealand and also across Australia and Asia. If you remember, the Thailand floods happened and the Japan earthquake had happened, and in Australia we had bushfires and flooding as well. So we're less than 1% of the global premium for reinsurance, and it would have been easy for the reinsurers to say it's too risky. So that changed the business environment where we had to work very hard to make sure reinsurers stayed committed so we could be committed to our customers and provide insurance right across New Zealand. And I'm very proud of what we've done to secure that capital here in New Zealand and for our parent company to continue to give us capital to make us well capitalised to grow. Because a lot of other companies in 2011, 2012 left the market and they're only just coming back into the market now. So for us, our culture is a very important part of how we lead, and one, inclusivity is really important. So making sure that everyone feels they can be included and everyone can make sure they've got a voice in the company, because creative companies mean that everyone can actually voice their ideas and also meet their customer needs. For us, our key goals are to make sure that we stay relevant to all New Zealanders who have come to New Zealand or are traditionally live in New Zealand. And with a growing population, we need to stay relevant. And that means people have to adapt and be agile, but also be supported to be able to grow their careers within our organisation, but be very attuned to what the needs of customers are. So we do customer-led design, where we bring customers in to design products, design approaches to our internet, and that's a really important part of our culture, but also how we deliver for New Zealand. As a lead insurer, we believe about keeping insurance affordable and accessible for all New Zealanders. And as part of that, that's in any group of community that's got a house, a car or a business, making sure that we're targeting them to keep them in insurance. Unfortunately, we also live in a risky country from natural events. So we think, if you think about we help you make your world a safer place, that it's our duty to make sure we're there for people who are new coming to the country as well. For example, in a month or two, we'll be launching on WeChat, because we recognise that, I'm on Twitter, but what I understand from some good advice is that actually Chinese are not on Twitter, they're on WeChat.
Yeah.
So how do we learn new things to be relevant to communities? Yeah. So we're getting there. We have to register.